All right, everybody, if you thought winter was done throwing punches, I need you to sit down for this one because the next 7 days across the United States are about to be absolutely unreal. We are staring down a weather whiplash that I honestly think could be one of the most dramatic temperature swings we have seen all season. Right now, a fast-moving and aggressive clipper system is barreling toward the eastern half of the country, and this thing is not playing around. We are talking heavy snow, dangerous wind gusts pushing past 60 miles per hour, and wind chills that will make you question every life decision that led you to living where you live. But here is where it gets really wild. Within days of that brutal Arctic punch, temperatures are going to do a complete 180. We are going from below zero wind chills to the 70s. You heard me right. Mid-February and parts of the country will feel like early spring. And when the atmosphere swings that hard, that fast, it does not just quietly settle back down. It fights back. That means storms, potentially serious ones. So buckle up, because today I am breaking down every single piece of this wild ride, city by city, region by region, day by day. Let us get into it. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now let's move on. First, let us talk about this clipper system because it is arriving fast and it means business. By tomorrow, Saturday, February 7th, this thing will be fully engaged across the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, and into the southern Appalachians. The hallmark of a clipper is speed and intensity in a short window, and that is exactly what we are dealing with here. This is not a 3-day snowstorm that slowly grinds through. This is a 24-hour blitz of cold, wind, and snow that hits hard and moves on. For the Midwest, the snow starts flying Friday night into Saturday morning. Minneapolis will see temperatures crater into the single digits with a few inches of accumulation and gusty northwest winds making it feel well below zero. Chicago gets clipped with 2 to 4 inches of snow and wind chills dropping near -15 by Saturday morning. Indianapolis is looking at a solid 3 to 5 inches, and this snow comes in fast, likely before most people even wake up Saturday. Detroit and Cleveland are both in the crosshairs for 4 to 6 inches with blowing snow reducing visibility on the highways. Columbus, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh should all prepare for a messy Saturday with steady snow through midday and temperatures struggling to crack 20 degrees. Now, let us slide south into the real danger zone. The southern Appalachians are going to get absolutely hammered. Western North Carolina and East Tennessee are bracing for a significant snow event. Along the Tennessee state line and into the highest peaks of the Smokies, we could see 8 to 12 inches of snow. Northern Swain County, northern Haywood County, Madison, Mitchell, Yancey, Avery, and Watauga counties are all in the bullseye for the heaviest totals. Some of those ridge lines above 3,500 feet could approach 16 inches when all is said and done. This snow rolls in around 3 to 5 in the afternoon Friday and does not let up for 8 to 10 hours. It carries Great Lakes enhanced moisture with it, which is exactly why the totals are so impressive this far south. Asheville might see a dusting to a ½ inch, but you go 30 minutes north and you are in a completely different world. Hendersonville could even see some flakes. Boone is looking at a feels-like temperature of -4 on Saturday. If you are heading to the ski resorts this weekend, bring every layer you own. Further east, this clipper wraps up moisture as it exits off the coast Sunday. New York City could see a quick coating to an inch. The Jersey Shore gets a swipe. Boston picks up a couple inches as the system curls off the Atlantic. Washington, D.C. is on the fringe and might see a dusting, maybe a slushy inch if the track wobbles slightly south. Now let me give you the cold numbers because they are staggering. Saturday is going to be 15 to 20 degrees below normal across nearly the entire eastern half of the country. And in some spots, we are talking 30 degrees below where we should be for early February. At the warmest part of the day Saturday, New York City is looking at highs near -3. Not wind chill, actual air temperature. Philadelphia is in the same neighborhood at -4. Factor in the wind, and you are staring at -20 to -26 for a feels-like temperature. That is frostbite territory in minutes if skin is exposed. Charlotte tops out near 34. Greenville, South Carolina hits 44, which sounds almost pleasant compared to what is happening up north. Atlanta hovers around the upper 30s. Nashville barely cracks 25, and Asheville sits at a frigid 26 for a high with a wind chill of about 12 degrees. But here is where this whole story takes a dramatic turn. That Clipper system races out of here by Sunday, and right behind it, a massive ridge of high pressure begins to build westward. By Monday, we are already back to near normal temperatures, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, the atmosphere just cranks the thermostat. We are talking 15 to 20 degrees above normal across a huge swath of the country. This is the kind of warmth that makes you forget it is February. Let me break down what that looks like city by city. Dallas and Houston push into the mid to upper 70s by Wednesday. Oklahoma City and Tulsa see upper 60s to near 70. Atlanta jumps to the upper 60s. Charlotte warms into the low 60s. Nashville sees mid-60s. Jacksonville and Orlando in Florida are cruising into the mid-70s, maybe flirting with 80 in South Florida. Savannah and Charleston easily reach the low 70s. Greenville and Columbia, South Carolina both touch the mid-60s. Even cities further north feel the warmth. Washington, D.C. climbs into the mid-50s. Philadelphia and New York get into the upper 40s to low 50s, which after a Saturday at -3 feels downright tropical. The Southeast in particular is going to feel like early April dropped in for a visit. Now, I need you to understand why this matters beyond just enjoying a nice day. When the atmosphere swings 20 degrees or more above normal in the middle of winter, it creates an enormous amount of instability. The atmosphere essentially has to correct itself, and when it does, it reloads storm energy. That correction is what I am watching very closely for the second half of next week. Here is what the models are telling me. By Tuesday afternoon, storm fuel begins building across South Oklahoma into North Texas. Dallas, Fort Worth, Tulsa, and Oklahoma City are the first areas where I see the potential for thunderstorms firing up. This is not a major severe weather setup at this point, but there is enough juice in the atmosphere for some rumbles and maybe a few strong cells. By Wednesday into Thursday, that energy shifts east into Arkansas, Louisiana, and Missouri. Little Rock, Memphis, Shreveport, and Baton Rouge all need to be watching the sky. The question becomes whether this energy organizes into a deeper low-pressure system, and that is where the forecast gets really interesting. Last night, the European model painted a pretty alarming picture. It showed a deep low-pressure system forming right over Middle Tennessee with a trailing cold front, and that is a textbook severe weather setup. When you see a strong low with a trailing front like that, you get the classic structure of severe storms on the warm side and winter weather wrapping around the back. That would have meant a potential severe weather outbreak for parts of the Southeast heading into Valentine's Day weekend. However, and this is the good news, today's European model run-backed way off that scenario. It still has the same players on the field, the same warm air, the same approaching front, but it does not organize them into that powerful low-pressure system. Instead, it brings the cooler air back more gradually, which is exactly what we want to see. A gradual correction means scattered storms instead of an organized severe weather event. For the late week storm threat, here is my regional breakdown. Oklahoma and North Texas see the highest storm chances Tuesday and Wednesday. Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi take the baton Thursday into Friday. Alabama and Central Tennessee get into the mix by Friday, which puts us right around February 13th, heading into Valentine's Day. If the low stays muted like today's Euro suggests, these storms stay manageable. If a future model run deepens that low again, we are having a very different conversation. Now, a few of you are probably wondering about snow chances beyond this weekend. Here is the honest answer. After this Clipper exits, I do not see any significant snow threat for the southern half of the eastern United States over the next 10 days. The warmth that builds in pretty much shuts the door on that. For areas along and north of Interstate 40, there is still a marginal chance for wintry weather if that late-week system tracks further north than expected. A couple of European model runs last night flirted with pushing the freezing line close to the Raleigh-Durham corridor and down through Hickory toward Asheville around the 15th and 16th. That would create some icy scenarios, but right now that is a low-confidence solution, and I would not plan around it. For the Northeast, the pattern does support another shot at snow toward the end of next week as the atmosphere reloads. Boston, Hartford, Albany, and Buffalo should keep one eye on the extended forecast. But the dominant story for most of the country is warmth, followed by the question of how aggressively the atmosphere snaps back. So let me bring it all together for you. This weekend is all about survival. The Clipper brings heavy snow to the Midwest and southern Appalachians, dangerous cold everywhere east of the Mississippi, and wind chills that are genuinely hazardous. By Monday, we start to thaw out. By midweek, we are running 20 degrees above normal, and it feels like spring showed up early. Then, late week, the atmosphere tries to balance the books, and that is where the storm potential lives. The trend today is better than yesterday. The European model dialing back that deep low pressure is encouraging. But we are not out of the woods yet, and I will be watching every single model run between now and then to make sure nothing sneaks up on us. I will keep you posted every step of the way. Stay warm this weekend, enjoy the warmth when it arrives next week, and keep your eye on the sky heading into Valentine's Day. We will talk soon.